told me there was sexism happening.
Here are things I think are sexist with little to no explanation.
I'm sure I can offer a couple explanations for these. Let's go, let's try it.
How women are categorized by their marital status. They're either Miss, Ms, or Mrs, but men are just Mr.
There's no historical consensus as to where all of these terms came from exactly, but they all seem to be derivatives of the term mistress, the direct female equivalent of the word master. This seemed to originally be a descriptor more of status and class rather than of marital status. So women who were involved in luxury trades or women who were the heads of their own households were also automatically Mrs. whether or not they were actually married. It was more of a status of capital value as opposed to marital status, and since men automatically hold capital value, they just keep the term master. And it hasn't really been derived that much further because I guess, men need to feel important. They really need that.
International Women's Day is one day, but men get a whole month, Men's Mental Health Month. That is June.
Good news, girlie. We actually do get a full month. We get Women's History Month. It's in March, actually. Men get Men's Mental Health Month because of the belief that men have worse mental health than women. It's a false belief, but because men they don't feel like they're allowed to talk about their feelings, it often translates into explosive episodes of violence in a way that it doesn't for women. And if, helping them with their mental health can reduce the episodes of explosive violence, I'm kind of all for it.
The way we treat cats and dogs differently. A dog is a man's best friend, but if a woman likes a cat, she's a crazy cat lady. That doesn't sit right with me.
This is actually not that old of an expression. It comes from the 18th century. I'm going to have to read this one verbatim because this is a quote from Voltaire and he's French. Il semble que la nature ait donné le chien à l'homme pour sa défense et pour son plaisir. C'est de tous les animaux le plus fidèle, c'est le meilleur ami qui puisse avoir l'homme. Basically, this is the most loyal and best friend man could have. Using man, of course, to substitute for all of people because, that's just kind of a thing that people do, prioritizing men over women and using it generally. That actually comes, though, etymologically kind of from back when the word man just meant human. It was later applied to specifically male humans, but it originally did just mean all humans. Meanwhile, if you want to live with a lot of cats, you need to be okay living with a bunch of small, cute little fluffy things that you're definitely going to want to hold and squeeze and pet. But if you didn't get their consent for it first, they're going to stab and slash at you. And this makes them, on average, better pets for women than for men. A very good first date question that you can actually ask a man is whether or not he likes cats, because if a man doesn't like cats, usually it's because of this consent thing, and it is a massive red flag. Then, cats also often carry the Toxoplasma gondii parasite, and this parasite can cause obsessive-compulsive symptoms, as well as exacerbating certain psychotic disorders, which leads to the crazy part. So, crazy cat lady, because women are better at consent, and cats carry psychotic parasites.
Pink tax. Why am I paying more money for a razor just because it's pink? I've started buying men's razors because of this.
Often items like women's razors are genuinely engineered different than men's razors. They're designed to do more contours because they tend to be body razors as opposed to face razors. They tend to be dealing with softer hair as opposed to coarser hair. And women have thinner, softer skin than men, usually because estrogen causes the skin to be thinner and softer, so these products need to be engineered a little differently. However, I still think that this explanation is nonsense, because an extra small or an extra large t-shirt cost the same, even though the extra large t-shirt uses twice the fabric of the extra small t-shirt. So companies are clearly able to take two products that cost radically different amounts to produce, average their prices out in the middle, and sell them for the same price, equalizing the whole thing across the board and still securing their profit. These companies are choosing not to because under capitalist logic, if you can exploit people to make money for yourself, you're supposed to do it. That's considered virtuous under capitalism.
The difference in job titles between men and women. Waiter, waitress. Actor, actress. It's the same job, give them the same name.
These are what is referred to in linguistics as marked terms, which mean they are different from a neutral or standard term. So actor is considered the standard. Actress marks the term to mean that it is for a woman. This can also be seen in a very flagrant example with the idea of a male nurse. So the job of nurse is just usually associated with women. So it is marked with the word male, the entire word male being appended to the beginning of it. And this type of marked term does go a long way towards explaining the gender pay gap because they want to pay women less, and this clearly marks this actress, waitress, as a lower paid, lower value role for the people in charge of the paychecks.
But women choose lower paying jobs like female lawyer, female doctor, female engineer.
Dads walking their daughters down the aisle because it comes from the daughter being property of their dad and now they're being passed on to be property of their husband. I just don't like that tradition.
No notes, you nailed it. That is the complete history and what it still represents. Somebody please go tell the dadvocate that because she really does not get it.
Female-dominated sports aren't considered sports, like gymnastics, cheerleading, ice skating, dance, not considered real sports. They are real sports, I can assure you.
They are real sports, but men really don't like to be compared to women in any situation where they could lose, so they need to invalidate it. They actually did co-ed shooting at the Olympics until a woman won. Then they segregated the sport and they created different standards for the women so that they could never be directly compared to one another because the men were scared of losing. In events that require raw power, the highest performing women are drugged and held to artificial biological standards to reduce their performance so that they can't be compared to male athletes. And in events that require obscene amounts of endurance, like ultramarathon running and swimming, the women still win. Because, yeah, women are powerful athletes, but men don't want to have to admit that ever. I hope that clarified a few things. My name's Courtney. I do this type of analysis all the time right here on YouTube. Hope to see you next time. Love you. Bye.